Welcome to the Not Superheroes Gets Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. And hello, my name is Sean Laurie, and I hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys, had an amazing weekend. Shout out to Osa. If you was able to check out the last episode, he definitely came with some heat and some gems, right? Some gems. So if you haven't had a chance, definitely check the last episode out. As we dived into, honestly, we dove into a little bit of everything when it came to parenting and being a father, but more so as far as what it looks like to parent like our parent or not to parent like our parents, right? But I want to talk to you guys about something that was very interesting to me. So actually, I had to take my car to the shop, right? As we do at times, we have to get our cars, take it to the shop, or take our lady's car to the shop, or whatever the case is, right? But when I was there, I was talking to this guy. He was a father as well, and we were talking about many different things. But something he said really caught my eye, and he said that he said as a father he has succeeded as being a father because he has 3 kids and all 3 of his kids graduated, right? And so for him that was a huge accomplishment, and I understood where he was coming from because as we were talking, he was talking about like how he didn't finish high school. He got his GED, but he wasn't able to finish because of different things that took place in his life, right? And when he was telling me this, right, when he was saying like, hey, as a father, I feel like I succeeded, right? My kids graduated high school, and I think he had 2 of them in college. I think the other one was working or whatever the case is, right? But it had me thinking because what is success, right? What does success really look like to us, right? Because there might be someone that says, okay, well, yeah, your kids just graduated high school. How do you feel like that's a success, right? How do you feel like you accomplished anything? But in the other hand, right, it's like, okay, hey, my kids graduated high school, and you know what? They didn't get caught up in anything. They didn't get, I don't know, go to juvie, right? Have a child in high school, right? Especially that's a big thing right now where there are, well, not even right now. It's been a thing, but that people are getting pregnant in high school, right, at a young age. So it just had me thinking as fathers, what does it, and as men, what does it mean to be successful to us, right? What does that look like? What does success really mean? And so I think about it because as men, we're constantly trying to provide, we're constantly trying to look for the next thing, right? And how we can help our family and help ourselves. And so when it comes to success, whatever that might look like, we will view it in many terms, right? It could be success in many people's eyes is, oh, you're doing well for yourself financially, right? But there's so much that can come into that. Success can be, hey, my family is all healthy. Hey, my health is good, right? Success is, hey, we have a car, we have food, right? That can be success too. So it just kind of depends. But I know in society, social media, right, when it comes to success, our value as men a lot of times comes with finances. That's just the reality, right? Where it comes where you need to have a certain amount of money or you need to have certain things to be quote unquote a success. And it had me thinking on all aspects. Like when it comes to, I can speak for me, right? I want to be a successful husband, a successful father, a successful man. But also understanding, am I okay doing the necessary things to be successful in whatever that looks like for me? So the reason why I say that is because we'll use finances, since finance is such a huge thing when it comes to us as men, right? If it's one of those things, hey, I want to start this business, or hey, I want to be able to have this much money, so I'm going to work 80 hours a week or whatever the case is, right? Okay, well, now you're not going to have balance of certain things because that's the thing that we hear all the time. And I feel like people will get us on that too, right? You'll see it on social media or something where they're promoting an ad or even people you may follow or whatever the case is. Hey, would you like to make $10,000 in less than a month, right? And different things like that where they're gonna sell you on, hey, you could make this much money but still have balance when it comes to your family or things you want to do. Where I push back on that is that's not necessarily the case. I don't believe in anything as such thing as balance, right? If you want to be successful in whatever that is, it's going to be a little bit off. So I'll use me for example, right? Of course, I want to be doing well financially. I want to be able to have certain things, but I also value my kids. I also value my family, right? So I know, since I know that, I know that's going to be more my priority than let's saying, oh, you know what, doing overtime at this job, or you know what, uh, I don't know, go out of town for this certain meeting. Of course, there is certain times when yes, I'm going to do necessary things to get where I want to get to, right? But also know that my family, for me, is priority, and maybe that has to go back to the things that I might have wished I had, right? Where it's like, man, I wish I was able to grow up with both of my parents in the household and be able to see my mom, be able to see my dad like on a consistent basis. So for me, that's an important thing. And I'm not willing to sacrifice my time with my family for finances. Now, there's nothing wrong with people that do that because people do that all the time, right? But just understanding that there is no such thing as balance. For example, we'll use basketball actually, because I think Carmelo Anthony talked about this, right? Where, okay, you know, when he was playing basketball, right, he missed out on a lot of stuff that his son was doing, right? So, excuse me. So he missed out on things that his son was doing. Now he's really investing in his son, and he even said he's really enjoying just being able to be with his son, teaching his son, right? But at that time, right, like his goal was being the best basketball player he could be. That's his profession. He wanted to go down as one of the greatest players ever, right? Which he's going to be a Hall of Famer and all that stuff. But I say all that is because, again, I really don't believe there's no such thing as balance when it comes to whatever you really want to do, whatever your passion is. So I think that's where we get in trouble. I think that's where it gets difficult because we want to try to have all these different things. And so it comes down to what do you view as value, like what's valuable to you. Another example is, I cannot remember this comedian's name. Is it like Dizzy Bank or I can't remember his name. Some of y'all might know who I'm talking about, but he's basically like a Instagram, Twitter, whatever. He makes like content like that, you know, cracks jokes, different things like that. And anyways, he was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and he talked about, you know, how he was with this girl. They broke up because he was focused on doing content, right? And he was staying with her, and basically she's like, hey, are you going to work, right? Are you going to work? And basically he wasn't keeping the job or anything like that. And he felt like, hey, she didn't really believe in me, so that's why we didn't work out. And my pushback would be on that is, well, no, I don't think she was necessarily asking you to do anything crazy, right? She's, hey, can you help out, you know, financially and certain. It's not like she was saying like, hey, you got to make six figures or anything like that, right? Can you help out in this instant with finances because bills need to be paid, right? But his mindset was my content, me making it as a comedian and doing what I'm doing is more valuable than this relationship, right? And that's understandable. I feel like both sides isn't wrong. She's not wrong for feeling that way, and he's not wrong for feeling the way he felt. I would just get pushed back because he looks at it as from what I was hearing when I watched it, it almost like, oh, she didn't believe in me. But I look at it like, no, it's just you shouldn't even probably be in a relationship because that wasn't a priority for you, right? And we see it too where, you know, husband and wife and they have kids, they look all happy, looks like everything's great, but then there's issues in their marriage because, okay, the father is always on the road, right? Because he has a business or he has a certain career path that he's doing, right? So there's not going to be that balance. And so all of a sudden, the wife might feel neglect or the kids feel neglected. Right now, the wife might file for divorce, or should you seen it where, it might be this wealthy family, and all of a sudden this woman is still stepping out because she's not getting the attention that she feels she deserves, right? Or the kids have resentment towards their father or their mother. But I'm more so focusing on the father because as men, we look at that strictly as that is our success a lot of times, right? And so that's where it gets tricky because it's like, okay, you got your son, you got your daughter, you got your wife, and financially everything's good. They have that house, they have the car, they're able to do this, they're able to do that, but they're looking at it like, well, damn, I don't have the time with my dad. I don't have, I don't have certain memories with my dad that I wish I had. He's always leaving. Or my biggest memories is him more so buying me things than actually being invested in me, spending time with me, right? And that's not easy at all. That's, like I said, it's definitely a hard thing to juggle because of the fact that there's no such thing as a real balance when it comes to anything. So for me, I'm making sure, like I said, my family comes first. So I'm going to make sure, hey, you know what? How can I be the best husband? How can I be the best father? How can I be the best man? Right? And for me, that looks like success. Since we're talking about success, for me, my success, I look at as how many people can I impact positively, right? One of my goals I set for myself is I want to make sure I impact 1 million people, right? So that's one of my goals. But also, okay, if that's a success for me as a man, as an individual, what does it look like for me as success for a father? For me is to be able to say my kids is like, hey, I remember, you always was present. I remember that you always tried your best. I remember that we did certain things. These certain memories stick out for me. For me as a father, I feel like I succeeded as long as that's the case, as long as they're able to take certain values and become honestly just the best versions of themselves because I was able to pour into them. And then as a husband, making sure, hey, I'm being the example not only for my kids, but also, being an example for what I would want my daughters when they marry. I want to be that example of what a husband looks like. And then for my wife, I want her to know that, she's not neglected, she is supported, she is valued, right? So that for me, that is what success looks like. But again, for everyone, success doesn't look the same, right? Success doesn't look the same, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more so understanding what your success looks like, and being mindful, right? Being mindful to not let your peers, not let your parents define what success is for you, right? And what that looks like, because you may come across someone that again may like, let's say you have a friend or something like that. Your friend's looking at it like, oh, you know what? Why isn't your child doing X, Y, and Z? And you start kind of competing. You start getting in the compare game instead of, no, you know what? My child's doing just fine. I'm not worried about what this other person's doing. Or, like I said, when it comes to our parents, right? Especially our parents, they grew up in a different time than we did, right? So they're not going to understand certain things. So they're going to tell you, hey, you know what? Maybe you need to be yelling at your kid because, you know what? They're not getting good grades in school. Maybe you need to be popping them. You need to take stuff away. But then for you understand, no, that's not how me and my kid's relationship works, right? Like, what's worked for me is being able to really talk to my child. And then after I talk to them, normally they're able to really lock in and do what they need to do as far as school goes, right? And so, again, that is a way that works for you guys. But I think we get in trouble with that as well because, again, with social media, with friends, with family, we get in this place of not feeling like we're a success, right? I've had people tell me plenty of times, like, man, things you're doing is amazing, right? But in my mind, it's like, hey, I'm still not where I want to be. I appreciate those words, but I'm still not where I want to be, just because I'm more so, like I just mentioned a little while ago, I'm more so focusing on how can I impact lives, how can I be able to change lives for the better, right? Being that example. So I share all that with you guys just because, again, I think we get in this place of, it's almost like the rat race, right? We're constantly just chasing the next thing too. And we got to make sure that we understand what success truly looks like for us. We got to stop chasing the next thing. The reason why, in my opinion, the reason why we aren't successful as we should be is because, one, we're going based off of other people's definition, and two, we're looking for the next thing, right? We're constantly looking for the next thing. You start this project, right? Then, well, my friend said this, so I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah, this is gonna change my life right here. I'm gonna be able to be with my family more. And then you start doing that thing. Oh, no. Now I'm gonna do this thing, right? And so, how can you really get better in anything, right? As a father, as a man, as a husband, how can you really get better in anything if you're not allowing yourself to really grow in whatever you're really trying to do to be a success, right? Dr. Dre didn't become a amazing producer right away. He didn't just, okay, I just hopped on, I hopped on whatever the beat machine, and and all of a sudden I just came up with hits. No, it took a while, right? Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, whatever sport, music, whoever you feel like is one of the greatest in their profession, right? They didn't become that overnight. It took time. But imagine, right? Imagine if they constantly just moved to different things and didn't stick with this thing that they felt like, this is where I want to be. This is what I'm going to view as success, right? And if not, then we'll use another one. Since I'm using big names. Well, we use Patrick Beverley, right? For those that don't know, he's like a role player in basketball. He's not a big name or anything like that. But he's a success, right? Especially when you hear him talk about his story, just because, he was undrafted, had to play in Europe, all these different things, right? But he didn't give up on what he felt would be successful for him, and that is making it to the league, and he stuck with that, right? He stuck with that. So I feel so many times and I know social media plays a part in that, though, play on our emotions. Oh, man, do you feel like you're not being a good father? Do you feel like, financially you could do more? And we start questioning ourselves. Like, man, you know what? Yeah, if I did have this, I'd be a good dad or I'd be a good husband. And depending on your family, depending on your foundation, they might not even be worried about that. They're more so like, hey, my dad's here. Hey, my husband's here. That is way more important to me than us being able to get the brand new BMW or whatever the case is, right? So we got to be very, very mindful of that, of just stop trying to chase the next thing and focus on the main thing. Whatever that main thing is, whatever that is for you. Like, if you want to, now again, there's nothing wrong with starting a business, right? If you want to start a business, or if you're just focused on your job, trying to move up in it, there is nothing wrong with that. I feel like the issue is when we're constantly bouncing around and there's no consistency, right? There's no consistency because now you're just cheating the process. Everything is a process, but if you're constantly starting a new thing, right, it doesn't matter what it is. Even in a relationship, oh, man, you know what? My girl was tripping on me. She didn't believe in what I was doing, so I'm going to the next girl. Okay, cool, but guess what? You're still going to have to put work in that next relationship too, right? In anything, you're going to have to put, if you want it to be successful, you're going to have to put work in it. That's just the bottom line. You can't skip steps, right? If you want to be the best father you could be and build that bond, guess what? You have to spend time with your kids. You have to have conversations with your kids, right? You have to get to know them, right? It doesn't matter, I want to be the best father I can be, but you know what? At the same time, I'm focused on this over here. Which one are you going to choose? Which one's more important to you? no right or wrong answer, because at the end of the day, this is what you feel is best for you is best for you, right? But same thing as if you're married, as a husband, you have to put time in, right? You have to let it grow. It's a process. Same thing with the business in all aspects. That's just how it is. That's just how it is, man. So, but like I said, when I was talking to that guy, it just really, really had me thinking just as far as what is success, and I challenge you guys. What does success really look like for you? As a man, as a father. If you are married or dating or whatever, what does success look like for you? Does success look like, you do have your business and your lady supporting you, your kids are working in your business, right? Or is success, you have a good job, your health is good, right? Your family's good. It's like I said, there's so many different forms of it. Or is success, hey, you know what? No, I have, I'm financially well off. And you know what? My kids, all their needs are taken care of, and that is success to me. I'm not worried about nothing else. As long as I'm able to buy certain things, I'm never without. My kids are never without. That's success to me. Any means necessary. I'm not really tripping on if, hey, my relationships suffer in certain areas, and that's okay too, because I met people like that. They're doing very well for themselves, very, very well for themselves, and they're okay with, because their mindset, and there's nothing wrong with it. Again, everyone has their own definition. Their mindset is, hey, I'm going to get it the way I need to get it, right? And then once I get to a certain point, then I'm going to start building the relationships with my kids or with my significant other, right? That's their mindset. And if that's what they want to do, that's perfectly fine. Just for me, like what I share, for me, that's not something I'm okay with, right? I'm okay understanding, hey, my limitations, or I might be capping myself out, I guess, in a sense, because I'm going to make sure my family's first. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be a success. My success is just going to look different, right? If that means I'm not making millions, but I'm making six figures, I'm okay with that, right? Or if that means, I don't have the newest BMW, but I have a nice Honda Pilot since I got kids, right? A Pilot. I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that personally. So yeah, guys, I definitely just wonder, ask yourself that question as well, but wonder what that looks like for you guys. What does success look like for you as a husband, as a father, as a man? What does that look like? And are you letting others dictate what success looks like for you? Right? Because at the end of the day, this is your life. This is your family. So whatever that looks like, if success for you is like, I'm moving my family to Alaska and we're going to set a foundation there. People might think you're crazy. Wait, why were you going to Alaska for? Why? When I moved to Texas, there was people out of love, but they didn't understand why I'm moving to Texas, right? And now that I'm out here, there's so many different things that's happening, which is a blessing that God's been really working for me, right? But those things, when it took place, if I wasn't okay with making that move when other people didn't understand it. So just understanding, again, success looks different for everyone, and whatever that looks like for you, be okay with that. Be comfortable in that, and don't chase the next thing just because someone else said something else, or someone else said something to try to steer you away, or someone says something that sounds good but that might not be right for you, right? So yeah, guys, so just want to share that with you guys. And remember to like, guys. Remember to subscribe, to share. I appreciate you guys so much. The support's been amazing. Definitely humbled by that. And like always, guys, remember, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you in the next one.